everybody, and welcome to Hey, We're Talking. Happy Monday to all of you out there in Hey, We're Talking land. We are here, and we are excited because we're going to be talking about wrestling this week. Hey, if I lost you, don't go anywhere. I promise you it will be entertaining because it's us. We're Hey, We're Talking. I mean, it's us, right? Right, guys?
Yeah.
Derek's nodding his head, and he said, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sure, yeah.
Get excited, guys. I mean, listen, if you're not excited about this, exactly. Nice. All right. Woo! So we're going to be talking about wrestling this week. In fact, he's got, Bob has Ric Flair behind him on the monitor tonight.
Yeah, I'm right there. I wonder if it'll actually show up in the screen. I adjusted some things this week, moved my little table back to make sure I can get it in the screen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Any which way. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. So before we start, though, we want to thank our sponsor. You've heard us talk about it before. We want to tell you again because it's a good deal. And if you're into video gaming, or if you have a kid who's into video gaming, this is a great idea. GameFly. GameFly is a place that lets you have all the games you want. All you have to do is play them. When you're done with them, you send them back. They give you a new one. I don't know if anybody remembers, but there used to be this thing called Netflix. Anyone heard of that before? They also they used to mail out DVDs. I think they still do, but
they do. Yeah.
But GameFly also does movies now too. So just imagine you're a surprise when you become a GameFly customer, and you can get not only games, but you can get movies. Okay, as many as you want. All you have to do is send them back when you're done. What you want to do, because you're a listener to this show, is go to gameflyoffer.com/HWT. We got you 30 days free of GameFly. That's right. So go to gameflyoffer.com/HWT. They've got two plans. You can do one game or two. You're going to start on the one game plan. When that 30 days is over, you can decide do you want to keep going or not. You can go to one game or two games per month, and it's simple as that. Pop that baby in the mail. Get a new one, play it till your heart's content, and yada, 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 you're cooking with gas. Gameflyoffer.com/HWT. All right, so today, Bob's relighting his cigar. Look at this guy. It went out. He should have just let it go at that point. It's almost like a nub.
No way, man. That's a lot of cigar left.
Oh, that's like a nub.
That's like the best part.
No, that's where it is gross. If it's a bad cigar, it's when it gets.
No,
right
this actually this is very weird. I've never gotten one of these before. Yeah, it's a Camacho, a Ditka signature, Mike Ditka cigar, and it was a little bit pricey, but I'm like, you know what? I've never tried one. I just want to try it.
Did you go, hey, I'm worth it?
I said I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get flagged on YouTube for that, copyrighted or something.
Yeah, and Camacho, that's a great wrestling name, right?
Ooh, Camacho, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Camacho?
Oh, you got it.
Well, Camacho is a boxer. Hector Camacho. So that's
yes, and Scott, right? Come on.
Excuse me.
Camacho Libre?
Okay, come on, dude.
Camachos are great cigars, and I this is the best part of the cigar, Scott. So I will smoke this until my fingers burn.
Until my fingers bled. That was the summer of '69. Go ahead.
I'll do our signature bit. If Camacho wants to sponsor Hey We're Talking, please get in touch with us at heywe'retalking@gmail.com.
There you go. Look at that.
That'd be perfect.
Okay,
it never gets old, right?
Bob,
let's beg for money.
Bob, what do you got in store for us today on Monday? We're talking wrestling.
Yeah, so today I wanted to, we're talking about wrestling, and anytime I think of wrestling, it brings me back to kind of childhood memories. So I remember when I was a kid, my dad was a truck driver, and my father would go and work 16-hour days, and he would just have these long, horrible days driving a long distance in the winter. And one of my fondest memories was my dad would wake up early Saturday mornings when he had no sleep. And he would sit on the couch with us, and we'd watch Saturday morning wrestling, which does not occur anymore, but it did back in the day. And my dad, he'd fall asleep. He'd doze off. But it wasn't about, us kids didn't care that Dad dozed off. Dad was still with us. but it was just the fact that we were able to sit there and watch wrestling. I think it came on at 11 a.m. on Saturday mornings. So that's really what I want to talk about is the wrestling glory days. And really, I want to know, before we get into starting to talk about some of our favorite wrestlers of the past, do you guys have any stories or fond memories or anything like that of the wrestling days when you were a lot younger?
Well, I guess I'll go first. I do kind of remember the Saturday morning, and that's kind of my first exposure to wrestling. Bob was, I think it was like on USA on basic cable, Saturday morning wrestling.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, USA. I don't know if that existed back then. It probably would have been like on Fox, whatever your local Fox channel is.
Maybe
or channel, your WPWR or whatever your local channels were.
You're messing up his remembrance. Let him.
I'm sorry.
Tell
I'm
a story.
just trying to help out here.
Yeah, I get it, because that's what's really important from 25 years ago. Is
right,
the
exactly.
exact channel it was on.
Yeah,
in West Texas. No, I remember seeing the colorful characters. I remember it was kind of the red, white, and blue kind of theme. I remember just the backdrops and the interviews. It was very colorful, very bright, and all the different characters. And then I wasn't really into it, but then when I became a teenager. With my church group, my friends in the the youth group at church, we would get together on some nights and we would watch wrestling. We would sometimes get together and get a pay-per-view. And some of my fondest memories as a kid, watching some of the WCW or the WWF or WWE pay-per-views, we would treat it almost like the Super Bowl. Get together, have some pizza, have some barbecue wings, and cheer, like Sting's coming down from the ceiling, or, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I'm sorry, Derek, it sounded like you were done. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Cut you off. No, I just felt, I feel bad. It seemed like you had something really special to share right at the end there.
Well, I just going to say it wasn't really anything connected with my parents or my dad or my mom or anything like that, but it was more like with my friends.
Yeah. I didn't really get into wrestling that much as a kid. My brother actually was more into it, and he was 5 years younger than me, so he had a friend who liked wrestling, and they kind of watched it more than I did. I knew some of it in junior high. My buddies and I would talk about it a little bit, but I think it was not as big of a deal at my age. Now, you guys were probably at the younger age when I was graduated from high school.
We're much, much, much younger than you.
So
you're 56, I'm 37, so 19 years.
Right.
Yeah.
A big difference.
Not true, but when you guys were getting into it was when I was getting into it again when I was in my 20s. So when you guys were probably in high school,
teenagers, yep.
Yeah, I was getting into it again. So I enjoyed it then more than I did as a kid. But I don't have like these amazing I remember. Although we did, I can remember watching it on Saturday, just like you were saying, Bob. It was on like some local TV station at like 11 usually, like you said, but any which way, I don't have like these really super fond memories of it or anything like that, but I did watch it and I got into it when you guys were probably in your heyday. I was also enjoying it at that time too, but I was older.
Well, the reason why, the reason
much older,
way older. The reason wrestling was brought up was just because the fact that we were kind of talking behind the scenes just about, it just happened. SummerSlam, which is later this
Sunday.
week, just kind of came up, and we're like, how disconnected are we from wrestling?
I think
when way back in the day, we could have rolled off every single person possible that could have filled up a card, or we knew every roster. But nowadays, it's not like that big ticket person anymore. So there's a big change. I just wanted to rattle off a couple of the guys that. So there's two, to me, there's two big eras of wrestling. When I was a kid, back in probably the 80s, and then you hit the 90s, and there's a totally different era of wrestlers. But back in the 80s, you had guys like Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Loved him.
And Bam Bam Bigelow and George the Animal Steele, Hacksaw
Detroit.
Jim Duggan, Ravishing Rick Rude,
Yep.
Lex Luger, Big John Studd, The Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, and some of those guys, you know.
What about Hulk Hogan?
I was going to say Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, and then you had some of those guys that transitioned into the 90s.
The Hart
you know,
brothers.
yeah, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, who sadly passed away. And then you go to the kind of the newer school guys, which are like, I mean, Sting was very old school, but
See, I never got into that. Like, the WCW stuff is completely lost on me. Like, I didn't know any of those. The only way I found out about WCW is when Hogan went there and became bad. Didn't he join NWO or something like that?
He did, with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and X-Pac. When I was in high school, so that would have been 94, 95, 96, 97, that's when that big WCW WWF war was going on, the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah.
And we would always, at that time I was dating my current wife, and she would hate it. My current
wife. That's always the worst thing to say. I don't know if you remember that. Call back.
Oh yeah, not my current wife. My wife.
My wife laughed so hard. She said when she heard Derek do that, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said my current wife."
Well, I've only had one wife. Same
context.
Still.
Context, people, context.
Yeah, my wife, the same lady I've been with. We were dating at the time, and I would tell her, you know, I cannot see you on Monday nights.
Whoa.
She's like, why? I'm like,
for
because
wrestling.
Yep.
For wrestling.
Me and
WCW Monday Nitro.
We had a few guys. My brother was there. We had all our friends.
By the way, we're
nicknames.
going to have your brother on the show on Friday.
Yeah, we will. Well, his name's his name on YouTube and everything is Rage the Lunatic. So it'll be fun to have him on.
We need to ask him how he got that name. I'll forget, but anyway. Go ahead.
You'll definitely forget, but
you will forget. I guarantee it.
Yeah. How about that, Scott? I'll bet you money that you will forget.
I will bet that I will forget also.
Okay. Anyways, so it was my brother Rage, another friend of mine named Dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
The bounty
another
hunter?
friend named Monkey. No.
Monkey.
Another friend. Yeah, Monkey. We would all just go hang out at Monkey's house, and we would just watch Monday Night Raw in SmackDown or Nitro at that time, and we just flip back and forth the channels. You know,
they were on the same night at the same time?
Yes.
Oh my!
And that was the big competition of Monday Night
DVRs,
Wrestling.
so you couldn't go, "Hey, I'll record one and watch the other."
Nope. So you're flipping back and forth, just going, okay, who's got the better match? Okay, let's watch this match. And then when it came time for the end of the show, you know, they always ended in suspense.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
You're like flipping back, like between both channels, like, oh my gosh. It was amazing.
And you know, that was the time where the character, you know, the wrestlers, they had the biggest personalities.
Yep.
They built the best storylines, and they drew it out. They built everything was just amazing, and the costumes. I mean, it just added so much to their personalities, to the characters, to the showmanship. That's what I was sort of trying to say. The showmanship was at its peak during that time. The Monday Night Wars.
Listen, though that era. I'm sorry, Bob. That era was the stories are what got me. I didn't care so much about the wrestling. I mean, that was fun too, but the storylines were just incredible. I remember when you got, now that stuff you guys are talking about a little bit later, when those WCW guys started coming into the WWF, when like the Game is what he is now, but he used to be Triple H. When Triple H and X-Pac and all those guys, Billy, what was the Billy the Kid? Was that his name?
Badass Billy Gunn.
Badass Billy Gunn. Those guys, that I loved D-Generation X so much. That was some of the most fun stuff ever. Poor China, rest in peace. Got stuck with those guys. Man, she was like one of the manliest women I've ever seen in my life.
She would
crush you.
A beast.
She would destroy your face easily.
And she was, what was she, dating or married to Triple H for a long time?
She was married to Triple H, and then she started dating X-Pac for a long time, and then
And then
that's when
Triple
she
H
just
married Stephanie McMahon.
yeah. Now he's the game.
And he's been the game for a long time, but I mean, even him, he's probably in his early 50s at this
No
point.
way.
I'm gonna
Look it
Google
up. No way is he 50. No way.
Oh yeah.
No way. No way. Anyway, those days were so fun. They had so many good storylines with Stone Cold, The Rock. Just save it. You can tell me I'm wrong in a second. Stone Cold, The Rock, when Jericho came in. I mean, just some of the storylines of that era were so good. And I think those ones we were talking about, like the old school, I don't think the storylines were as good back then at all.
But you had the persona.
Yeah.
You had the character.
You just
had
the, hey, brother, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you knew what you were going to get, and these guys just had the platform just to be their character.
Yeah.
So that it was a lot different than, and I don't know, maybe we'll get into it later this week, but I don't know how much control each individual has over their own character anymore. But back in the day, it was, hey, this is your character. You are Hulk Hogan.
It was more
you
like
be
improv.
what Hulk Hogan is supposed to. It was
They
all
gave
improv.
they gave you the skeleton of where the story was supposed to go, and you got to kind of fill it in. And those guys actually had some talent to go on the spot. Those guys, that's the thing. The guys that were able to take the mic, grab it away from Mean Gene, and throw down. That's why Dwayne Johnson is like a mega billionaire now, because he knew how to. Man,
work
talk
a
about
mic.
somebody who knew how to work the mic, dude. I mean,
Yeah, even Stone Cold. I mean, Stone Cold stuff wasn't rehearsed.
no.
His stuff was just whatever the hell he felt at the time.
Yes, whatever he wanted to say.
Because Stone Cold said so.
Yeah.
So as we all know, wrestling, the storyline itself is fake. The art
What?
of wrestling, the art of wrestling is not fake, because we see what happens with these guys and getting beat up and brutal and all this stuff. But it was just so much different because they were allowed to just be that character, be that persona that they were. And I don't know if you have that nowadays.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have those big mega stars like you did back then.
All right. We could go on and on about this, but
Triple H is 48, by the way.
He's not 50. Boom.
No,
I
but,
win.
dude. 48.
I win.
He's
I
getting
win.
up there.
I win. Thank you. Chalk that one up for Scott. He wins. Derek, I was just going to ask you real quick to give us a little bit of information. I'll do all the end piece here, but tell us a little bit about Gamefly and what they're doing for us.
Well, Gamefly is sponsoring the show.
Yes.
And we have a link that you can go to, gameflyoffer.com/HWT, and they'll hook you up with a free month of video games or movies. It allows you to rent them. You go in, you tell them what you want to have, they'll mail it to you. You can play the game for as long as you want, and then mail it back, and then they'll send you another one.
No contracts, no cancellation fees, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, if
Yeah.
you don't want it
one
anymore,
at a
you just
time.
cancel.
You can rent one at a time. You can rent two at a time. Maybe you want to rent one game and rent one movie at a time.
I like the way
And
you
there
think.
go. So it gives you a chance to try games without having to buy. And if you love the game enough to buy it, you don't have to buy it, because you can just rent it for a few weeks, beat the game, send it back, get another one.
Boom.
Not bad.
Boom. I like it. So go to gameflyoffer.com/HWT to get 30 days free. That's what you got to do. You got to go to that link. Make sure you go there, support the show, but not only that, get that boss 30 days for free, man. Boom. There's actually a couple other offers on there that you can use, but the 30-day free trial is awesome, and you should try that out. Gameflyoffer.com/HWT. Hey, we're coming back on Wednesday, and we're going to talk some more about wrestling. But if you haven't noticed, there's a couple of these wrestlers who have become big-time movie stars. We talked about one of them in Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. But there's some of these guys have made the foray into the movie films, and we want to talk about some of that. So when we come back on Wednesday, that's what we're going to be talking about. And then on Friday, we're going to have Rage the Lunatic on the show, and he's going to be talking to us about SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam. Should be fun. And plus, it's Bob's brother, so there should be some friction there from Bob beating him up as a kid.
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
There
So
probably won't be that much friction.
that's true. There probably won't be.
No, my
I
brother
bet
and
you
I,
there
we
won't
get
be.
along.
Yeah, I
we
bet
get
they
along.
will get along very well.
Yeah, just like you won't ask about whatever you said you were going to ask.
Exactly.
I don't even remember what that was already.
So,
See? That's
so
how
we,
I was able to guarantee it.
so we'll be able to, yeah.
How he
Okay.
got his name.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk to you guys on Wednesday. Until then, stay frosty. I don't know. How do we end it?
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your listener and viewership.
How did Jerry Springer end his show? Oh, he had like
Did
a
we?
deep thought.
I don't know, but I liked the way that Derek ended it again, and you ruined it.
Be well, people.
Be excellent to each other.
May the force be with you.